everybody, to our listeners. Here we are at another episode of Everything Horror. I'm your host, Tessa Baker, and tonight's topic is titled Outlast the Horror. I am joined by some of my fellow ladies of horror. Girls, introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Bree.
Crystal?
And I'm Crystal.
Okay, ladies, so we are going to talk about Outlast tonight. What do you guys think about that?
Best game ever.
Freaking fantastic.
Okay, so for those of our listeners that do not know what Outlast is, it's a first-person survival horror game that was created by Red Barrels. And Miles Upshur is a freelance investigative journalist who seeks to expose the truth of the Mount Massive Asylum, which is a psychiatric hospital which is located in Colorado. And the release date for this game, the main game, was February 4th of 2014. So ladies, I'm going to start with Bree first. Did you have any idea of what to expect when you pulled up to Mount Massive Asylum when you first were starting the game as Miles?
Not at all. The very first time I was absolutely terrified. Because I had seen some people play a little bit of it, and it scared me just to watch it. And I was so shocked as to how scary it actually was. Definitely for your first couple playthroughs, it's absolutely terrifying. And even now that I've played this game so many times, speedrun and everything, I still get scared at certain parts.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
What about you? Did you have any idea what you were walking into when you pulled up to Mount Massive Asylum playing as Miles?
Kind of, sort of. Kind of agree. I kind of saw some people play it, like, when I used to work the night shift in my old job, I think PewDiePie did a playthrough of it, so I had just put it on and fell asleep. I just got the first part where he got into the asylum and passed out, so I really didn't see too much after that. But when I did start playing it, I was so scared. Like, it made me nervous when I started playing it myself.
Alright, I
guess really, I didn't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, ladies. I actually played Outlast only once. I've only played through it once completely. And I was, like scared shitless at certain points. I was like, oh my freaking god. I was like, what the hell do I do? And Paul's just like, run, babe. Run, hide. Don't even try to fight him, just hide. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, so what did you think of the dying SWAT member's warning when you got into the library? What did you think after you heard what he told you, like the warning he gave?
Oh geez, I don't even remember what this warning.
He was pretty much like, get out of here, it's not safe, these people are crazy, you're gonna die here, you know.
It made me nervous.
I think it would make anybody nervous.
Yeah, because when, somebody's saying something like that to you, I mean, what can you expect but all the horror, all the death, all the terrifying, just immediately going into the asylum, that was enough to start scaring me there.
Yeah, because you had to climb up freaking, like, building scaffolding, climb through a freaking open window, and you're like, oh shit, what the hell did I just walk into? Crystal, do you remember that at all? The SWAT member giving you the warning and how you felt after he told you that?
I think I kind of remember it. I remember I was like, okay, well, time to go. And I remember trying to open the doors to the front of the building, and I'm like, well, shit, I'm stuck in here now. There's no way for me to get out. I might as well just push forward now.
Yeah.
It scared me because I was like, oh god, here we go. It's about to start.
All right, ladies. what were your thoughts on your first encounter with Chris Walker? This is the big motherfucker with, like, no nose, like, no skin on his nose and stuff, and his forehead and stuff like that.
I hate him. I hate him very much. Chris Walker is the worst. And he's terrifying, and he calls me a little piggy, and it makes me sad.
Yeah,
Don't like him.
And he's relentless.
Yes.
Absolutely relentless. And I hear, like, his little chain noises or whatever, and you're like, oh, shit.
The anxiety comes as soon as those chains start rattling.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, shit. Where do I hide? It's like, oh, crap. Oh, like for example, the scene where you have to sneak around him in the cell block area, and you have to go around that mound of bodies to get past him to get up the stairs.
Yeah.
I was like pretty much holding my breath like half the time. I'm like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. I was like, he's gonna find me, I'm gonna die. So we all agree that Chris Walker is a pain in the ass. Okay, what about you, Crystal? What were your thoughts about him?
He scared me the first time he came up on me.
He's a big motherfucker.
He is, especially when, like, you're going through, like, you're trying to slide through that area and he grabs you.
Yeah.
It scared the hell out of me. I was like, oh my god, who is this motherfucker grabbing me? And he threw me down. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, and he throws your ass into the lobby down below and you're just like, oh shit. Alright.
He's too clingy. He needs to get more personal space.
Agreed. What did you guys think of the fact that there was no combat system whatsoever in this game, that you essentially had to run and hide or die? Bree, you want to go first?
I loved it. I thought it was so well thought out because if you think about it, in most games, when you have a chance to use a gun or use grenades or whatever it might be, you feel safer in a sense, I guess. And when there is nothing and your only options are to run or hide, you're very vulnerable. And I think it's really cool. I think it was such a great idea. And really, there aren't many games that I can even think of that have this type of horror and no options for weapons. And I think that's just brilliant.
Crystal, what were your thoughts?
I have to agree with Bria. Like, I think it was awesome because it takes you out of your comfort zone. It makes you feel like you really are trying to survive this game. I mean, with a gun, you can shoot someone and try to take them down, but when all you have is a camera and, you know, your ability to hide somewhere, it really changes how you view it. So you really have to think smart and, you know, think, what would I do in that situation? So I loved it.
I do have to agree with both y'all ladies on this because I thought that personally, like, not having, like, a way to defend yourself it puts you on edge. And you had to hide in order to survive, which really got your adrenaline going. You're like, oh shit, I have to run, I have to hide, I can't let them get me, you know? So I thought that was pretty clever. And you're right, you guys don't see that in a lot of games actually do that. They usually give you some kind of a way to defend yourself, a weapon of some kind. And Outlast was just basically run and hide or die.
Yeah.
Do you think that there should have been like a self-defense combat mechanism when you got grabbed to try to get away? Like a better way to, how am I trying to word this? Like, you should be able to hit them if they grab you. Say like Chris Walker grabs you, you should be able to at least punch him to let him, like, get him to let go of you before he tries to, like, rip your heart out or whatever. Crystal, what do you think?
I mean, I think it'd be interesting, even if they even use like what they did in Resident Evil 7, where you just threw your arm up to block, you know, them from grabbing you or biting you. Something. I mean, because in all honesty, even though like the no fight, like the no weapons, your reactions, you would still try to fight and struggle to get away from somebody. So I do think maybe they could have done that. Just, like, nothing too strong, but, like, a push or, like, a swing at somebody would have worked.
Yeah. What about you, Bree? What do you think?
I do think that would have been cool. I think it would be more realistic in that sense of, you know, oh, I've been grabbed, get off of me kind of thing.
Yeah, like your natural response to being grabbed.
Yeah, exactly. But in a sense, I'm kind of happy they didn't do that because I feel like there's more fear. I feel like there's more of a fear level where you're being, you know, you're trying to hide, you're trying to run away. And if these people get you, you're dead. There's no getting away, and there's no option to get away. So in a way, I kind of like the way it was already made, and that there was no way to get away from these people and no way to push them off or hit them or whatever it might be. But I kind of just enjoy the way it was.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, do you think that there should have been a distraction system, like throw an object to draw away an assailant so that you could get by them more easily? Or did you like the fact that you pretty much just had to, like, wait it out and take your chances?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I did. I liked it the way it was, but I do think that would have been a really cool idea. To have, I don't know, if you saw like a pen or something on the ground, throw it and, you know, they would hear it and run towards it. I do like think that would have been actually a very cool addition.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that as I was playing it, and Paul even mentioned it as well. But what do you think, Crystal? Do you think that would have been a good idea? Like,
I guess it kind of goes back to the question before with, like, the self-defense thing. Mm-hmm. Like how Bree said she liked it how it was because it gave you more fear because you didn't have some way to fight back. And this is the same way for me. It's like, I wouldn't want that because I guess it would kind of take away from that fear factor. It'd be a good idea, mm-hmm. but I like how you had to sit there and lay underneath the bed and, like, count to 10 and go, all right, I'm going to run and dodge and hope to God they're far enough away that I can get away from them. So yeah. I like that. I like that you had to be on edge constantly to get away from somebody.
Yeah.
Great. What did you guys think of Father Martin's character? Him being pretty much the only one that was, like, I guess, somewhat
normal?
Somewhat normal? Yeah. Crystal, what did you think of him?
I just thought him as a Catholic priest turned cultist. He was just, that's my whole, I was like, alright, you look like a Catholic priest, but you're a whole cultist, dude. I thought he was pretty cool, though, like, I liked how at the end of the game, you know, at the church and all that, like that, being Catholic, I was like, whoa, that's pretty deep, you know?
Setting himself on fire on the cross. Cool, yeah.
On the cross, I was like, whoa, you know, but it was really cool. I liked this character. And like I said, he was probably one of the most normal one out of all of them. So yeah. I thought he was an interesting character.
Yeah, and how he scribed, like, subliminal messages on the walls and, like, blood or whatever.
On the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bree, what did you think of Father Martin?
I actually liked his character. It was kind of an unexpected person, I guess, in this game, whereas, like, everybody else is trying, and he's trying to help, in a sense, I guess. And I did really enjoy that, and I like that he was, like, leaving these messages on the wall, blood and all of that for 4 miles, and I thought he was a character. I did enjoy him in this game.
Great. What did you guys think of how much you had to evade Chris Walker throughout the game? Like the cell block, the sewers, the asylum in general, how often he would pop up during Miles' gameplay and he would chase you. What was going through your mind when this kept happening? Bree, I'm going to start off with you because you gave me the heavy sigh. So let's hear what you thought about it.
I hate Chris Walker with everything in me. He is the one character in this game that absolutely, like, terrifies me. When I first played this game, I actually had nightmares about him. It was pretty ridiculous. So the fact that he's in so much of this game, it makes me uncomfortable. I hear those chains rattle, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we get really tense. And he is the one character in this game, aside from Whistleblower, that can grab you and immediately kill you. So like without hitting you, you're dead.
Yeah, rip your heart out.
Yeah, so he's the one character that really gives me anxiety in this game. So to answer that, I don't like him, and I don't like that he's in this game.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the top characters that I was actually afraid of, and every time that I heard his chains, I'm like, I don't want to go in there. Yeah. I don't want to move.
Back away.
I just want to stay right here and curl up in a fetal position and not move.
Yeah.
Like, I'm safer if I just lay here and just play dead. Okay, Crystal, what are your thoughts about how often you ran into Chris Walker during Outlast?
I hated it. Oh my god, like, it's like a breach of this when the chain started rattling. You knew it was coming, and you're like, oh shit, you big-headed bastard. I was just like, go away. Leave me alone and let me get out of here. I was always just trying to hide as best I could from him. Especially, like, there's one part with him. I don't know if it was Whistleblower or the main one, but when you're in the security room and you have to get out and run around the corridor to get away from it because he's chasing you. And I think you had to climb up into a vent to get away from him eventually. I think that's what it was.
That was the main game. Yeah, that was the main game. Yeah, I have to agree with you on that part. I was pretty much, like, tensed up and like, holy shit. Like, run for your life. Don't even look behind you. Just run.
He got me so many times right there. I was like, oh my god, I hate you, Chris Walker. Just go away. Leave me alone.
Okay, now we're going to talk about one of Crystal's, actually two of Crystal's favorite characters in the game that she's told me about, the twins. I want to know
boys.
Yes, your boys. I'm going to start with you on this, Crystal. What were your thoughts of the characters, like, as characters? What did you think of them?
I love them. Like, when I first saw them, and I was like, whoa, they're naked, and their dangly bits are showing. I was like, whoa. It totally threw me for a loop. But I liked them because they always... I don't know if y'all watch Super Jail. I used to be a cartoon on Adult Swim. And they reminded me of the twins off that show. Like, they always, like, finish each other's sentences. And they were just interesting characters for me.
It doesn't ring a bell for randomly. Me. But I will tell
it's a very obscure cartoon.
Yeah, I will. I bet it is. I will tell you what I thought of them when I first seen them. I was like, okay, so we pretty much have, like, these criminally insane, like, naked versions of Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I was like, oh, great. I was like, oh, great. I was like, that's freaking awesome. So that was my first thoughts when I saw them. I was like, oh, jeez. I was like, holy, take me back to Alice in Wonderland, but in a very, very, very dark and twisted way.
You went down the wrong rabbit hole.
Yep, definitely down the wrong rabbit hole. Okay, Bree, what did you think about the twins?
Well, I call them the Nakey twins, and I kind of love their characters because they're just so creepy, and the way they, like, talk very slowly and very kind of quietly, it's terrifying in a way, and I really like that about them. And I guess aside from Walker, these two are the other ones that can kill you right away, so you do actually have to be very careful of these guys as well. And you have to make sure that you are either hidden or book it. And I really like their character.
Surprisingly, I never got caught by the twins. I pretty much stayed far away from them. I was like, you guys are very menacing. I don't want to be anywhere near you. So, like, whenever they would start to get close to me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run. Okay, moving on. How about when you get into the male ward and you have your first encounter with Doc, aka Rick Trager. This is the guy with the big, huge scissors. I forgot about that. What did you guys think when it went to, like, the little, like, cutscene thingy where he takes your fingers, he chops your fingers off with the scissors? Alright, who wants to go first?
I can go first. Okay. I love him. Trager is my probably favorite character in this game because he's so weird. He's just an odd thing. I always, every time I get to the part, see his butt, I always say, oh, he's got a nice butt, joking around. And so, like, muscular and creepy. And I really like his character. He is terrifying, though. I have to say, like, it is, aside from Chris Walker, whom I just hate throughout the game because he's terrifying, this part where you're trying to get past him and get the key and get in the elevator, that is probably the hardest part of the game for me. I don't know why, but because he's all over the place. When you think he's not there, he's there.
Yeah, he's so fast.
Yeah, and he's on it. And so I really like his character. I think he's totally weird and just, I don't know. I just love his character. I think it's great. He was a perfect addition.
Great. Crystal, what were your thoughts about Rick Trager, the Doc?
I love him. Him and the twins and the Groom are probably my three favorite characters of the game. Mm-hmm. And, like, the part where he's cutting your fingers off, like, I would cringe every time. I'm like, oh, my fingers. Like, the big old scissors and stuff. And it's like, come on. But I'm like Bree. Every time he would turn around his butt would show, I'm like, hey, nice ass. You do a lot of squats to keep it there.
I think we all pretty much...
You got a better ass than me, buddy.
I think we all pretty much notice Rick Trager's ass, like, throughout gameplay, because it's just there.
He liked to show it off. He liked to flaunt that butt.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he liked to sport that plastic apron of his.
Not that I blame him.
I would too if my butt looked that good. But I really love him. He was really, to me, out of all the, besides the Groom, he's creepy, but he tries to carry this, like, sophistication to him at the same time. Like, he tries to be, like, I don't know, like, he tries to be like a real doctor in a way, but he's not. Yeah. He's just, like, this creepy, weird guy. And, like, him chasing with them big old scissors around, like, that scared me. Like, I had the hardest time getting away from him. I think Paul actually had to help me get away from him because I couldn't figure out how to get away from him. Because, like Ray said, when you thought he wasn't there, he was. Every time I tried to turn a corner, there he was. I'm like, golly, for an old man, you move fast. So I was just like, it took me a while, but I really love his character. He really was a good addition to the game.
My thoughts on Rick Trager when I was first sitting in the chair and he was lopping off my fingers with his big giant scissors, I'm like, holy shit. I was like, this guy is not playing around. He's intimidating as fuck. He's scary. I don't want to be anywhere near him. And you have to, like, sneak around him and hide under beds and stuff. And those big giant scissors of his. I was just like, holy shit. Part where you actually get in the elevator and get away from him, but he gets in the elevator and ends up getting squashed. I was like, ooh. I was like, what a way to go.
Yeah, that's so true.
Okay, what did you guys think of Walrider? What did you think of that entity that was created by Murkoff Corporation using one of the patients, Billy, and introducing him into dream therapy, which created the Walrider? So, that's the entity that goes around that can't really be seen unless you have the camera.
Yeah,
He looks like a ghost.
Yeah, he looks like a ghost,
he's a
like a skeletal
ghost.
type of thing, yeah.
I have to say my favorite part of him towards the end, spoiler alert by the way, where he kills Chris Walker. That was the best part.
I knew that was going to be a favorite among y'all ladies, because you guys just hate Chris Walker so much, and you're going to be like,
hate him.
Yes! Finally!
It was a good time in the game.
I pretty much was all excited when the Walrider took Chris out. I was like, fucking thank you!
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And then Walrider starts coming after you, and you're like, oh shit. So that, Crystal, did you do you have anything to add about Walrider?
I just thought he was my buddy until he started coming after me. I was like, I thought we were on the same team. I didn't like Chris. You didn't like Chris. You killed him. No, why didn't come at me, buddy? We're on the same team right here. But I thought it was a cool character.
What did you guys think of the part where you had to disable Billy while avoiding his menacing form, the Walrider? What did you think of that part where you actually had to try to avoid Walrider while going around and doing the disabling for Billy to try to disable Billy as the Walrider?
That was rough, because with Walrider, he, depending on what mode you're playing, he can kill you basically with one hit. He can really damage you with the one, and then if there's a second one, you're dead, and then you have to start over. And so that was kind of tough to run around and be able to, push the button and all that jazz, as he's chasing you. And I don't know if this was for everybody, but I know PlayStation, there were some glitchy problems, and so if he killed you, the game would freeze and you'd literally have to start the entire thing over again. So that part was kind of annoying in the sense of, Walrider, if he hit you and you died, it's you kind of have to start over. But it was definitely kind of difficult with him being such a fast character in the game, to be able to actually run away from him without him getting you, especially your first couple playthroughs.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Crystal? What do you think about?
I have to agree with Brie. Like, having to run after, like, trying to disable Billy while Walrider's chasing you, it was a challenge. I remember running around in circles for a while just to try to get him, like, get a call in a corner or something so I could, like, get past him. But, like, going and try to disable him and him get right behind you the whole time made it kind of difficult to hit the buttons or do the switches, what you had to do to turn Billy off. I mean, it was good. It was a good challenge. It needed to be a challenge to end the game. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed it, but it was a pain in the ass when he was, like, right up on you, swiping at you when you're trying to turn Billy off.
Okay. Also, spoiler alert, Miles becoming the Walrider at the end of the game and not making it out of the asylum. What did you ladies think about that happened to Miles? He was like right there. And then that happens. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So, what did you guys think of Miles becoming the Walrider in the end of Outlast?
I was shocked.
Yeah, you were shocked? Yeah.
Yeah, I was totally shocked, totally not expecting it. And, it was kind of a good ending, though. Because, at that point, you're like, oh, well, there must be a DLC or an Outlast 2 or whatever, to go with it. So that was kind of a cool, like, I know every time I love watching play this because it's really fun when they are playing it for the people. You should just look at people's faces when they get to that point for their first playthrough. They're like, you're kidding me. I played this entire game and this happens? So it's kind of cool. I actually like it a lot.
Crystal, what did you think about the fact that you became a Walrider in the end of the game?
I was kind of sad. I was rooting for him to make it out alive because we went through all this shit together, And I'm like, all right, we're making it. We're going to get out of here. And then, bam, turns to the Walrider. And I'm like, no, I just want to get back in my vehicle and get the fuck out of here. That was the whole point of this. But, like, I enjoyed it. Like Bree said, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, all right, there's got to be something else to go with the DLC or Outlast 2 coming out. So I was kind of excited, but I was also kind of shocked and sad at the same time because we went through all this horrific crap together to get turned into the Walrider. But it was a good ending. I enjoyed it.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. I was pretty shocked when Miles became the Walrider. I actually thought it was pretty good, though, how he got just desserts on the doctor and took him out and a whole bunch of, SWAT guys, I think, at the end of the game. And, I thought it was interesting. I thought he was honestly going to get out, like Crystal was rooting for him. I honestly thought that with all the shit we went through in the game that we'd actually get him out in the end, and I was totally shocked when he turned into the Walrider. Now, before we get into the Whistleblower DLC for Outlast, I want to bring up one thing that Red Barrels was going to do but decided not to do. They were going to have Chris Walker, when he got a hold of you, he was going to he wasn't going to kill you, he was going to, I can't believe I'm saying this, he was going to rape you.
Oh, wow, seriously?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they were going to have Chris Walker, when he got a hold of you, he was going to rape you. But Red Barrels decided against it because they didn't want to lose viewers or gamers due to that. So they took that out, and instead they had Chris, when Chris got a hold of you, rip your heart out instead of doing that other horrible thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was like...
I did not either.
I was like, holy shit. Also, Outlast got some awards and accolades for it. They got Best Game of E3, Most Likely to Make You Faint for awards for E3.
Nice.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
They deserve that one.
Yeah, agreed. Alright, so before we move on to the Whistleblower DLC, I want to talk about the main game and ask you ladies what you liked or disliked about the main game. Crystal, you want to go first?
Yeah. What I liked about the game is it made you feel fear. Like, you didn't expect some of the things to happen, and it made you feel really vulnerable. You had no gun, you had no way to defend yourself, you had your camera and your wits, and that was about everything you had through this whole game, fighting these, crazy monstrosities, and, you're just an average person. So going through this whole nut house like this, I've really enjoyed it. I mean, when I first played it, I knew it was going to scare the living hell out of me when you open the library door and the body falls down. That scared the hell out of me, and I was like, here we go, this game is going to give me a stroke at the end of it. I don't know, a heart attack or something. It's going to kill me. So I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed how they played it out. You had to hide, you had to, be smart about what you did, or you could end up getting caught or getting killed. So I really not many games make you feel that kind of fear, so I enjoyed it. As far as not liking it, it'd be cool if they did give you a self-defense of pushing away or trying to hit them with something, but I think it would take away from that fear factor as well. So, I mean, that'd be my only downfall of the game, and that's about it. I mean, I have nothing but love for that game.
Okay, Bree, what did you think of what did you like about Outlast and disliked about it?
I definitely agree with Crystal. I think the game was it was so well done, and believe it or not, I actually really love the graphics of it. It's not these crystal clear, realistic graphics, but I really like the graphics of the entire game, and I think that it was just really well done. The fear factor, not having any type of weapons, not being able to, fight your way, physically, away from a character, it just made it so much better. And I love that this game is like one of the only games that has that, at least one of the only that I know of, that has that particular gameplay. And I was really happy with the way the game turned out. I thought the story was very interesting, and it really kind of kept you going. And what I didn't like about the game, I really don't know. I really don't think there was anything that I truly disliked other than Chris Walker, but that's just because he terrified me. I thought he was a very well-played character. But yeah, other than that, I really don't think there was anything I really disliked about it.
The only thing I really disliked about it, which we're all in agreement on, is Chris Walker's character. That's pretty much the only thing I disliked about it. The game did scare the shit out of me. I was on edge pretty much the whole time I played it, but I love the fact that a game was able to do that to me. I thought it was pretty brilliant how they put, like, the appropriate, like, I guess, for lack of a better word, jump scares, and just when you're getting comfortable and stuff, and then they, just drop a jump scare in your lap, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty brilliant. Overall, I enjoyed playing the game. Paul and Bree had recommended that I play it, and Crystal did as well, so I finally sat down last week, and I think I spent like two days on it, because I did the DLC too, and I did my homework for this podcast. But overall, I enjoyed the game. I thought it was one of the scariest games I have ever played in my life, and I would recommend it to anybody to play at least once. Another thing I want to mention before we go into the DLC is, did you know that Red Barrel started on Kickstarter for Outlast? They did these adult diaper things called Underscares. Outlast 2.
I saw them. I wanted one just to have it.
I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, they have them out for companion to Outlast 2. So I thought that was kind of interesting how they did that. Now let's talk about the DLC for Outlast, which was Whistleblower. You start as Wayland Park, who's a software engineer threatening to expose Murkoff Corp for the ruthless monsters that they are, and opening up a can of worms on their experiments. And they detain him and make him a part of the Walrider experiment. As like one of the candidates. This DLC was released in May 6th of 2014. Now, let's see here. What did you girls think of your first encounter with Frank Manera, who's the cannibal that's in the kitchen? Who has the circular saw as a weapon? Okay, Crystal, you go first. What did you think of Frank Manera?
I think, in a way, he was the Chris Walker of this one. Like, I couldn't stand him. He was always wanting to eat me and all that. I'm like, dude, I just got rid of one clingy bastard. I don't need another. But he was a really cool character. Like, I like the idea, the concept of the saw and stuff. He was really well done. He got on my damn nerves. So, I mean, anyone that gets my nerves is probably a good character. So I liked him. He scared me a couple of times when he'd come around, but he was a good character. I liked him. This got on my nerves.
Yeah, pretty much anytime I heard that circular saw starting, I knew he was near. I was like, oh shit. It's like, find a vent or something and jump up into it. Just get away from him. Bree, what did you think of Frank Manera, the cannibal?
I thought he was funny. because like the first part where you actually see him and he's like sewing up that guy on the table and he's like talking about how his and he loves him and then he microwaves his head off and it's funny. Like he's just a funny character to me. He didn't really bother me, honestly, because I mean now that I speedrun the game, I get away from him, no problems. But like in the beginning, he was just like, he was funny, but then you could also hear his saw, so you kind of knew he was nearby. Whereas like with Trigger in Outlast, you didn't.
All you heard
he was
was
just there.
Snip.
So you know, he this character me so much, and I thought he was a funny character, and you know, eventually became easier to get away from. But he was definitely in a lot of this game, which I thought was good.
Yeah, and how you had to escape the furnace after he shoved you in there. You had to escape out of it, kick the wall out.
Yes.
I have to get the fuck
Trying to
out
cook
of
you.
here. And he's like, "You are mine. You're supposed to be mine." And I'm just like, hell no. No. I thought it was pretty fun how you had to avoid him and all that fun stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about one of my favorite characters. Eddie Glueskin, a.k.a. the Groom. He was one of my favorites. And, like, between the main game and the DLC, he was my favorite. Your first encounter with him where he's, like, peeking through, like, a door, darling! And I'm like, oh, boy. I was like, this is going to be fun already, I can already tell. And you have to, like, immediately hide right after he says that to you. It's like, oh, crap, I better hide. I'm going to hide underneath this sewing table here. And I'm going to duck around. And, you know, go from this sewing table to this sewing table and get the hell out of this room and somehow manage to sneak past him. Because this is a guy that's seeking to make a perfect bride and he sexually mutilates his victim trying to do so. So I was like, oh God. So what did you ladies think of the Groom? Krista, you want to go first?
I can go first. Like I said, him and Trigger and the twins are probably my three favorite characters from the game. Like the Groom is a hot mess. He really is. I love him though.
I agree.
Love the Groom. I mean, like I still do it to my fiance. I go, darling, and he's like, stop. It's like his whole character. Like I feel bad for him in all honesty. I really do, because I think he's actually in one of the rooms at the beginning of the game, and then they take him back.
He is. Yeah, he is.
He is. I feel so bad for him, but like when you see him strap you to the table, and like he's trying to make you into the perfect woman, or he's like cutting the other guys in half, and I'm just like, you can't do that. That's not how that works, sir. It's going to kill him.
You can't.
He was really psychotic.
Yeah, you can't put him on the table with like a round table saw and cut him in half and expect to make a woman out of it.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
You're making a bad decision. And especially the wedding part with the dress.
Yeah.
And he gets mad, calls you a whore and all of this. I'm like, calm down, sir. I didn't ask for this. You asked for this.
It's like, darling, why are you running away? Why are you running away from us? And it's like, I'm getting as far away as possible. I am not your girl.
I love him though. To me, he was the funniest character. Like, just, he had such like, you know, expectations to find the perfect bride, but he went all about the wrong ways. But
yeah.
I loved him. He was probably one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how you had to go around and evade him. He was one of the ones where I pretty much had to like guess like when to go, because there was like one part where you have to hide underneath like a desk with like just like a little slit of an opening to see. And
yeah,
you pretty much had to guess when to go. But like, I don't know if he's coming. I can't tell, so I'm just gonna go. And at one point, I actually had to hide behind the door he was trying to come through. I was like, oh, shit. Because I started to walk out at... What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he started to walk into the room, and I backed up and got behind the door, and I'm like, oh crap. It's like, just keep walking. Just keep walking. And
just keep moving, keep away from him.
Yeah, please stay away from me. And there's actually like a little like quote thing or whatever that went with him. Like it said like something like above the knees and below the navel, sliced and sewn on Glueskin's table, to make a place to push inside, the groom will make himself a bride. I thought that was kind of eerie and
that's so creepy.
It's so creepy, but so kind of like whoa. What did you guys think of when you had to evade Eddie? Like when you had to get past him?
I just in general love his character. But he is scary. He will kill you with one grab. So with that, it was difficult to get away. And I always, like, when I would play on Nightmare and I would get to the very end part, I will never forget the time that I tried to go through the vent to finally get away from him, and he grabbed me, and he killed me, and I was really sad. So getting away from him, you do have to be smart about it. So, so you don't get caught, because like I said, he will kill you with one hit. So there's no second chances with him.
The gym scene where when you're trying to get away from Eddie that Bree was talking about, the death scene of where Eddie dies by entangling himself in the pulley system and getting impaled by the metal bar. What did you guys think of that idea of how they decided to kill Eddie off? Did you think it was, brutal? Did you think it was a good way for him to go? Or what were you guys' thoughts on that?
I thought it was brilliant.
Brilliant.
He deserved it.
Yeah, a little metal bar through the heart. Yeah, essentially. What about you, Crystal? What did you think of like the whole thing where you had to like evade Eddie and get away from him, and where he got into the gym and he got taken out?
I think like Ray said, like if he did catch you, he would kill you in one hit. So I mean, you had to be really smart. Like I don't know how many sewing tables I hit under to get away from him. So you had to really perfectly time how you got away from Eddie. So I did like that. The gymnasium section, I was kind of sad he died. I was like, he was one of those characters you love to hate.
Yeah.
So I was just like, he deserved it, but I was sad at the same time. I remember like when I killed him, I was like, bye, my groom. I was so superficial, like depressed about it. But I think they did it really well. I was just sad I had to kill him. I was like, poor thing. But it's for the best. You keep, you're trying to make lady parts out of a saw. That's just not going to work. So it's time to go to bed. Take a nap. So, like, yeah, I think it was really well done when they did the metal spike through his heart and stuff. So I give it A+ on his death.
Did you guys know that supposedly Miles, as the Walrider, actually killed Eddie? He was the one that did it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Miles, as the Walrider, supposedly killed Eddie. He was the one that did it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Okay, so let's see here. And then, Walrider, assists in helping, Wayland Park escape from the asylum because Blair tries to, intercept at the lobby and try to stab. Well, he does stab Park in an attempt to stop him from leaking out the truth about Mount Massive. I absolutely love the part where Miles, as the Walrider, kills Blair. I was like, yes! Thank you. Blair was a pain in the ass. That bastard deserved it. He had it coming.
Yep.
I thought it was great. What did you ladies think about that?
I was happy.
Yeah, I pretty much thought Blair was a jerk.
He was a dick.
He had it coming. Yeah, he was a dick. He had it coming. I was waiting for it. Bree, what did you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. Jeremy Blair was super. You know, he was the head of this development garbage, and he was just like, even in the beginning where, you know, he locks you up in that room, you know, just from the beginning he got on my nerves. And so at the end when he tries to stop you, and then Walrider comes out and does away with him, I loved it. And the coolest part was all of his guts and all that stuff all over the place. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I definitely love his blood and guts going everywhere.
Yes.
I was like, yes. Yes.
He got what he deserved.
Exactly. I was like super happy when he killed Blair. I was like, it was just like when Walrider killed Chris Walker. I was just like, yes. It's like instant, like, happy. After Miles assists in Park escaping, you notice that when you pull your camcorder up before you get in, like when you're sitting in the Jeep getting ready to take off, you can see Miles. Like, the outlining of Miles. I was curious as to what Miles looked like, because it never showed him, because you were always playing as a first person.
Yeah, that's true.
So that the fact that they showed what he looked like by using the camera only in his Walrider form, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Did you guys... Okay, there's another thing I want to talk to you guys about. Did you guys know that there is a digital comic out for Outlast that's free that you can download? There's four issues of it, and they're about 25 pages long. And they came out with it after the first Outlast game.
Yeah, my friend Queen of Weirdness said that there were comics, and I did look through them. I didn't like read them in full, but yeah, I think that was really cool. I'm gonna have to check them out again and read through the whole thing.
It kind of ties like things together, like what happened with Wayland Park after he got away.
Yeah.
Stuff. So it's definitely worth it to check it out. So yeah. Last thing I want to talk about with you ladies is Outlast 2 demo. Did you two get to try it?
Yep.
Okay, good. So we all got to try it. October 23rd of 2014, interview with Bloody Disgusting and Red Barrels reveals due to the success of Outlast sequel in development, Outlast 2 is set to release in late 2016 to be delayed to early 2017. This game has new characters in a new region which is set in Arizona desert. And you're playing as protagonist Blake Langerman, who's a cameraman who works with his wife Lynn, who they are investigative journalists trying to follow a trail of clues to a seemingly impossible murder of a pregnant woman known as Jane Doe. So it takes them on a journey to Arizona desert to uncover the truth about what happened to this woman. I played through Outlast 2, and one of the things that stuck out to me was the creature that I call the tongue monster. It is that woman that woman that like lures you to like check out the well, and you're like, oh, what do we have down here? And then she pulls you in by her tongue, and it's like, oh shit. It's like, no. That was one of the characters that stuck out to me. I was just like, holy shit. And how it like menacingly taunted you and stuff.
I didn't like... So, I like the demo in a lot of ways, but I feel like in a lot of ways it was not the same thing. And I know it's not the same story. Like, I get that. But with, like, the tongue, for instance, to me, that seemed really corny, and I didn't like that. I just thought it was very weird and not Outlast-like, if that makes sense. It didn't follow the way that they, I guess, are known for. I didn't like that at all. Weird. And there were some other things in the game that I also thought were kind of weird. And the graphics are very, very different than the original. And they're good in ways. I think they're much clearer, and I do appreciate that. But I really preferred the original Outlast and the way the graphics were. They weren't perfect, and I don't know. I prefer the original, graphic-wise and everything.
Mm-hmm. Crystal, what were your thoughts on the Outlast 2 demo?
Well, it scared me, first of all. Especially when you're in the schoolhouse, like down the hallway, and that thing pops up in your face. It scared the living hell out of me. Oh my god.
Yeah, I jumped.
It scared me. I screamed on Twitch. I was like, oh my god, not again. But, I think it's gonna be, it's really different from the original, and I guess we're so accustomed to the original, because that's what we fell in love with. We I guess put a bar up, like, saying, alright, this is how this is what we expected of it. The graphics are a little different, they're a lot clearer, a lot crisper than the original Outlast. So, I mean, I guess maybe because of the newer console, or because it's a newer game, it's different kind of designs. There is still some fear factor to it. I did get scared, but the initial fear from the first Outlast just wasn't there. The cornfield chase kind of made me nervous, but I was more scared going into the buildings than being chased the cornfields and stuff. So, I mean, I guess until I played the actual game, I really can't give it a real good review because, you know, it's just a demo, so I can't really base it off the whole game. I still have high hopes for it because I've been watching this baby since they announced they're making an Outlast 2. Mm-hmm. But it's a whole different concept. It's no longer the asylum, but you're still dealing with crazy people, but just in a different setting. I've read a couple of things about it, and it's pretty much saying that as your character, you're judging your own sanity as you play this game. Mm-hmm. So, I'm really excited for it. I'm going to play it regardless. But like Bree said, it's not like the other Outlast. It's not what we came to love. It's something different. So maybe it could be good. It could be a good fresh breath of air for us, or it could be a disappointment.
Yeah.
It can go either way.
So that's
my biggest concern.
Yeah, that's your thoughts on what Outlast 2 is. Like, that's what you guys think it'll be, maybe? Like, would it...
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I think my biggest thing is, like, when I got Outlast, it was free game of the month on PlayStation Plus. And, you know, nobody really thought anything of it until everybody played it and everybody loved it. It was this huge thing that everybody wanted. So then it became really big. It was just an independent game, and it became huge. And my biggest fear when I found out Outlast 2 was coming out is that it's going to be one of those games that was so good, and then it got so much hype, and so many people started playing it that they kind of overthink things and make it what it wasn't originally. So that's my biggest fear. I'm really hoping the game is great. With the demo, my first playthrough, I did it in 15 minutes or something. So I'm hoping that it's a good game. I have high hopes for it. Like I said, there's some things that I didn't like about it, the tongue, but also the way you go through doors. It's different. It's very different. So we'll have to see what comes out of it and, see if it's the same type of storyline, where you have to deal with crazy people and you have to get out and all that jazz. I just hope it's nothing corny like because that was weird.
Paul actually did a thing on I want to say Share Factory, and there's a video up on YouTube of him going through the demo of Outlast 2, and I was voicing like what I thought of the game and stuff like that, and of the demo, more or less. And we were like talking about it, which there were certain parts where you kind of laughed at it per se, like you thought it was kind of corny, like Bree says. Like, I thought it was kind of funny how you get dragged into a well and you end up in like this like ventilation shaft, and then you end up in like a classroom of like a school or something, and then you open a door and then you're like in like this creepy abandoned like house out in a cornfield, and then you're running through cornfields, and it's like, holy crap. Like,
Yeah.
the scenery changes so like dramatically.
It's like a bad acid trip.
Yeah.
Like at one point when Paul was running through the corn, I was like, I feel like we're in like Children of the Corn or something.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap. Bread Barrels had actually reached out to the fans of what they wanted for this game for Outlast 2, so we'll have to see what the fans' input was on that, or what they suggested. I wanna add something else. Anybody else besides me, and this goes for like Outlast, the DLC, like everything. You ever notice when you open like a locker door, a door in general, how it makes this loud, obnoxious noise, and you're trying to be quiet and not draw the assailants, and you're like, I thought we're supposed to be quiet and stealthy. Instead, it's like we're attracting every freaking psycho in the neighborhood.
Yes.
I was just like,
that's really funny.
I was like, oh my god. Every time I open the freaking locker, I'm like, somebody's gonna kill me.
That's great.
I kept thinking I was going to see some WD-40 or something.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Let me see, is there anything else that I missed? What did you guys think of the story or the plot overall for Outlast? Like, did you love the plot or the story for it?
I loved it. It was really well done. Like Bree said before, it kept you like hooked. Like you wanted to see where it went. You wanted to finish it. You wanted to see what happened at the end. So I mean, it was a really good plot. I liked how it is. I mean, there's so many horror games that do like the crazy house asylum thing, and they don't like fulfill what they, I guess, achieved to do. But Outlast did. Outlast completely, from start to finish, with that plot, did what they intended to do with it, and I loved it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Very well done game.
I'm gonna have to agree with both of you ladies, though. Between Outlast 2 and Outlast the original, I like the environment for Outlast more than for the demo for Outlast 2, because I like the fact that you were trapped inside of an asylum and that you had to find a way out, versus being in like a little bit more of an open environment, like out in the Arizona desert, like you're running around a cornfield. I more or less like the idea of how you were trapped in Outlast. Like, you were inside of an asylum, you had to find keys and, like, do all sorts of stuff, crawl through vent shafts and everything else just to get out of there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It just made it more of scare, yes, whereas, like, all of this is, well, all of what we've seen so far of Outlast 2, like, for me, when I was running through the cornfield, I wasn't scared. I mean, I was scared, but I wasn't scared like I was in Outlast, because there was nowhere to go in Outlast, whereas you can run anywhere you want in the cornfield in Outlast 2. So I definitely agree. The Outlast original, but we'll have to see. You know, we don't know what's going to happen with, with Outlast 2. I really, really hope it's well done. And I mean, they certainly have had plenty of time to do it.
Agreed.
You ain't lying about that right there.
What do you think, Crystal? What are your thoughts on, the Outlast first environment versus Outlast 2 environment? Which environment? I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement, but I just want to hear your take on it. Did you like the idea of being trapped in the asylum versus running around in a cornfield being like, hey, I just have to avoid the searchlights. You know, I can just run anywhere in this field.
I did. Like, the ambience from the two different games were totally different. Like Bree said, in the original Outlast, you really had nowhere to go. You had to hide and survive. As far as, like, Outlast 2, you're in this cornfield, and you're in this big, open, expanse area of land to where you can just run in any direction you want and get away. And as Outlast 1, you couldn't do that. You run into a room or down a corridor and turn the wrong way, you're caught and you're dead. So it's a totally different. The fear is not there. Like, maybe in the buildings in the second one, the fear will be there because you're in a closed environment. But as far as being in the cornfield, that didn't scare me like it did in Outlast 1. Outlast scared me because I knew if I make the wrong turn or if I make the wrong choice and where to go, someone's going to end up catching me. So it's two different ambiences, two different environments. But, I mean, I do hope it's just a demo. I hope they learn and, fans tell them, hey, change this or do that and give them that push. I don't want to be like the first one. I do want to be something different. But I also want that fear that I have from the first one to stay there. Because if not, it won't be an Outlast game.
Did anyone else, get this kind of feel from the tongue monster that she was kind of like a little bit of something like Laura from The Evil Within? Did anybody else get that kind of feeling? Like how they did the tongue monster or whatever, how similar it kind of was from what they shown of it?
I never finished Evil Within. I got scared.
Oh, well, I'm showing an interest in it. Paul was showing me some gameplay from it, earlier this morning, and I was just watching certain parts of it with, the Keeper and everything, and I'm like, holy shit.
You ladies need to play it. It's so much fun. Oh my god, I love that game.
For one of the last things I want to mention about Outlast 2, what did you guys think of the demo end where you ran into the, witch-looking creature with, the scythe thing and, it nailed you, in the crotch and then in your head and then you were dead?
That was intriguing.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah, because you think that you're going to get away, and then you slide down this thing, and run into that, and then you get the scythe thing to your crotch, and I was like, oh god! Ouch, that had to hurt. And why is and why is it always the crotch?
I know, right?
That is true.
Why is it always the crotch that gets nailed first?
Thing about crotches.
They have something against crotches, clearly. But I was just, that was one of the things that we actually talked about for the demo. Paul and I were both like, why is it always the crotches that get nailed? I mean, do you notice that every freaking time? I'm just like, ugh. Well, we are, unless you ladies have anything else to add about Outlast in general, whether it would be the first DLC or anything like that, I think we're about to the end of the podcast where we're going to wrap it up. Do you guys have anything to add?
The only thing I have to add is, with Outlast 2, whenever it decides it's coming out, if they do another DLC, I would really like to see it be a longer DLC. I think the Whistleblower DLC was it was very short. I can finish in 32 minutes or so, and that's just not long enough for me. as a game. And I mean, certainly the first couple playthroughs you can do it, in a couple of hours, but once you've played it a lot, it just becomes kind of short. And I would really love to see a longer DLC, and I think I would even like to see a longer main game as well.
I agree. Crystal, do you have anything to add?
I pretty much agree with Bria. I mean, if they do decide to make a DLC for Outlast 2, I do hope they decide to make it longer. Because if you do play it more than once, it does get short. I mean, other than that, that's about it. I do recommend if you haven't played the Outlast or the Whistleblower DLC to play them. Definitely do it without your lights on and with a headset, because the ambience is totally different. You'll hear things move, and, it really makes you have that fear factor. So, I mean, play them if you haven't played them. Don't be a chicken shit. Play them. If I can play them, I'm a girl, you can play them. So, I mean, I definitely do recommend to play them.
Yeah, you heard that on our podcast. If a chick can play this game, you can play this game. Don't be a pussy.
Yeah, it's definitely a great game. I do recommend, because kind of like a spoiler for me, if you're gonna play it, don't watch other people play it first. Just do it. Because, then you kind of, if you've seen it being played, then you kind of know already what's going to happen. And it's, it kind of ruins some of the jump scares, because you're like, oh, I remember this part, watching it, this is going to happen. So I definitely recommend, if you're going to play it, don't watch it at all. Just do it.
Just jump right in.
Yeah.
don't dip the toe in, just jump right into it.
Full body.
Yep, full body. Take it head on. Well, you heard it from us ladies of horror. If you haven't played Outlast or the DLC for it, Whistleblower, or tried the Outlast 2 demo, we highly recommend that you do so.
Absolutely.
A couple of announcements. Our Everything Horror podcast is now available on iTunes. There's a donation link to help. And for my ladies that were able to graciously make time in their schedules for my podcast this evening with them, I thank you very much. And ladies, we'll start with Crystal. What is your Twitch, and how can we find you?
I am on Twitch. You can find me as Cristello Bello, so it's twitch.tv/Cristello_Labello horror game. So come watch me get scarred. And
Bree, how do we find you, hon?
So my old channel was twitch.tv/Bree43K, and I am still working on getting my new channel all set up, but it will be twitch.tv/TatsThighsPrettyEyes, and that should be started pretty shortly.
Great. And one of the best ways to reach me is my PSN, which is redqueen_85. And I'm your host, Tessa Baker, and this concludes our podcast for Outlast, the horror for Outlast. So stay scary.